Welcome back. All right, so if you are a fan of Finland, you might be happy right now. If you're a fan of Sweden, you might have looked at this tournament and said, "All right, so this game kind of encapsulated how things turned out." You wouldn't necessarily be wrong on this. So this was a game that we always look forward to seeing at some point at the World Juniors when you have Finland and Sweden because it's very unpredictable and it's usually a pretty close game. And today ends up being a close game, but when we look at it overall, this was a good Finnish team. Starting with first period, Gunler ends up putting the puck over the glass. Power play for the Finns at 1 minute and 26 seconds. So Gunler just trying to play the puck and just knocks it over the glass. It's one of those innocent. He didn't mean to do it, but it's still his puck over the glass. It's delay of game. A strong penalty kill by the Swedes, though, which was important because the Swedish penalty kill came into this game at 60%. You don't win very many games when your penalty kill is running at about 60%. The Finns pressed at 5 minutes, but the shots were only 1-0 at that point. So there's some shot blocks going on. There's some maybe not taking the shots they should, some shots maybe missing the net a little bit, that kind of thing. The Swedes finally got their first shot at 8:15 when Finland already had three. And then the momentum shifts. And this was definitely a game of big momentum shifts. The shots evened up at the halfway mark. Alnefelt was having a better game. Some tight checking, not a lot of scoring chances. And then seemingly out of nowhere, on a goal that Peroinen had no chance at saving, it's Lucas Raymond scoring from Johansson at 14:28. So early on in this game, I'm going to be honest, I figured I'm going to be wearing a Sweden jersey and a Detroit hat, and it won't be the first time in this tournament. And the Swedes got a power play shortly after that, and it clicks. On the 2-0 goal, it's Soderblom with a power play goal from Raymond at 16:05. You know, what gets me with Soderblom, he's big, he stands in front of the net on the penalty kill, or on the power play, but then he does the nifty between the feet goal, and it was a great goal for a guy who's 6'6", 6'7", and he's just a really good player. And somewhere Steve Yzerman watching this is likely thinking, you know, if we can get him in our lineup, not necessarily this season, but if we can look at maybe putting him in the lineup next year. I don't know whether or not Soderblom ends up being a top six forward at some point in his career in the NHL, or if he ends up just being a really good bottom six guy that on a power play, you stick him right in front of the net. But this kid's going to be really interesting to watch at a higher level in North America. It was an absolutely great one, and that was the sixth power play goal for Finland or for Sweden in this tournament. So the shots have been 7-1 since the Finns had the 3-0 edge. So 7 of the next 8 shots came from Sweden. And then Niemela goes to the box, and the game's all Sweden in the second half. Lundell, who is known for being fantastic on the faceoff, ends up going 3-7 in the first period. So only wins 3 out of 10 faceoffs in the first period. Yeah. So it's 2-0 Sweden after 1. And I'm already thinking, all right, so Sweden's moving on to the next round. They'll be in the semifinals. Well, it's a nice redemption story for them after what was a tough ending to the round robin. So we go to the second period, early chance for the Swedes, and it felt like that third goal, if they could get that third goal, this was probably done. But the Finns have other plans. The thing is, before they can get to their other plans, Hellenius with a careless head check, 2 minutes plus 10. Swedes go back to the power play. I do like the 2 and 10. I do. I've talked about this before. I think if the NHL adopted a 2 and 10, where if they say, okay, this is a head check, 2 and 10, and then teams should be allowed to challenge that as well. Because again, the major, you can challenge majors. You should be able to challenge the 10-minute misconduct on a head check. Say no. So they can't take the penalty off the board, but they can take the 10-minute misconduct off the board. I think it's good because it should settle some of the debates in the hockey world about checks to the head and what should be done about them, where it's not just all or nothing. So we'll see if the NHL ever adopts that. But the Finns do kill that penalty off, and out of necessity. So there's some desperate penalty killing too. But not long after that, the score becomes 2-1 for Sweden when Nikkanen scores from Viro and Lambert at 5:32. So Finland's on the board. And Nikkanen with a nice one, but really the key play here is from Lambert. This Lambert kid, when 2022's draft comes around and he's eligible, I would not be surprised to see him in the top 5. I'm pretty sure he ends up in the top 10. I would not be surprised to see him in the top 5. And he had a great game today. Sweden challenged what was then a tying goal by Ratu. And this is, of course, not to be confused with the Ratu that's a potential top 5 draft pick in 2021. This is the Arizona draft pick. And I started thinking, maybe Arizona ends up drafting his brother as well and have them both together. But anyways, that goal, which was a nice one, it doesn't count. The Swedes say it was offside, and it was. It was offside, about a step offside. Not really that much debate about whether or not that was an offside goal. But then the Finns, to their credit, they don't pout when that goal doesn't count. I don't like it when teams, I was going to say when fans always get upset over it. But when a team is deflated that they get a goal and it doesn't count, it drives me nuts. So it was nice to see the Finns kept pressing. They kept going for it. And while Alnefelt had a much better game today, Finland just kept throwing everything at the net. And that's what you really had to do today if you're Finland. Pudio ends up hitting the crossbar as well. So they're a crossbar away from tying it, much like Germany was in the last game, right? So, good game for Heinola. That's the hat. Finns playing some desperate hockey out there as well. And they never really stopped. At no point from the second period on did Finland let up. Was there anything in this game that I thought, well, there's an opening really for Sweden. This is where it's going to turn. I never really saw that. Piroinen makes an accidental pad save on a play for Sweden where he's looking the wrong way, but they all count. It's still a save. And if you ask Piroinen, he may very well go, yeah, I knew. Yeah, it's no big deal. So Alnefelt then denied Lundell. A great period, though, for Finland, and if not for Alnefelt, it would have been a tied game coming out of that period. Ratu then takes a penalty, late Sweden power play, but Alnefelt ends up having to make a great save shorthanded as Finland gets the best chance during that power play. Again, that desperate hockey you want to see, and Finland was playing it. So we go to the third period. Heinola steals one early. He was denied on a break as he continued to have a really good game at both ends of the ice. Petman was robbed on a cross-crease pass. The shots were 5-0 Finns 5 minutes in. So in between periods, TSN interviews Elmer Soderblom. And Soderblom basically says, yeah, we need to play a little more desperate. We need to have, more forechecking. And he was one of the members of Team Sweden that was doing this. And I thought Raymond did it as well. But as a team, they really weren't pressuring enough. Raymond had a chance, and there was a dog pile in Finland's crease after. Piroinen was fine, though. Finland ends up getting a power play at the halfway mark. And during that power play, it's Anton Lundell, who may have had a slow start to this game, but boy, what a finish. Heinola with the assist at 11:04. Jets hat. And it's a tie game. Now, the Swedes did push back with about 5 minutes left. For roughly a minute and a half, they had it in Finland's end, and it looked like maybe, sort of, kind of, maybe this is going to go their way. And nope. And there was furious action at the Swedish end of the rink in that last minute. And you could tell the announcers are getting ready for overtime. We watching this game are getting ready for overtime. I don't think the players were getting ready for overtime. And they would have looked foolish if they did, because it's Hirvonen with a really nice wraparound into the net at 19:36. So with a little under 24 seconds left, Hirvonen makes it a 3-2 game. They called a timeout. They pulled the goalie immediately before the face-off. None of it ended up mattering. You could hear all the screams on the Finnish bench as they cleared the puck with 6 seconds left. No, there was an icing, I think, by Sweden with about 6 seconds left. I didn't write it on the board because I knew at that point, I thought, okay, so yeah, this game's over. And certainly Finland, full value for the win. You look at the shots, 11-4 in the first period for Sweden. Remember, Finland had the first 3 shots. So the shots were 11-1 for Sweden after that. Second period, 12-6 Finland. And then the third, where they really needed to nail it down, Sweden didn't. 18-6 were the shots in the third period for Finland. Final shots, 34 for the Finns, 23 for the Swedes. And so Finland moves on to the semifinals. Your players of the game, Heinola for the Finns and Soderblom for Sweden. So again, if you're a Detroit fan, you're going to come out of this saying Raymond looks really good, Soderblom looks really good. Our future's solid. Would have been nice to see Sweden go further, but that's okay. Because there will always be Detroit prospects in this tournament. Almost every team's got Detroit prospects. Piroinen, 21 saves on 23 shots for Finland, and Alnefelt, 31 saves on 34 shots. Again, Alnefelt had a nice bounce back after the U.S. game, but Sweden, they're out. there you go. The quarterfinals are out. Well, they're out of the quarterfinals. We've got Finland and Russia now as semifinalists, and waiting to see who's going to win the Canada versus Czech and U.S. versus Slovakia games to see who opponents are going to be. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.